As far as, just some of the stuff for the game that I'm sure you guys are wondering about, Rob Havenstein will be out for this game. And then the other guys that will kind of be affected, and really it's a unique situation like we've talked about. You got 53 guys on your active roster, 2 practice squad flexes, and then that can enable you to be able to have 5 other additional inactives. Fortunately for us, we've been relatively healthy, have had some situations that we've navigated through, especially on the offensive line. Guys are banged up, but they'd be able to go if it was a normal game. So we're going to err on the side of caution with those guys, and then some of the skill players offensively that have gotten a bunch of work and really have been just a little bit more experienced players. So the guys that you guys will see that we'd be listed as doubtful, told you about Matthew, so he'll be out for this game. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp will also be on that list, as will Kyron Williams, Alaric Jackson, and Kevin Dotson. And then, that'll enable us to be able to really, what I think is great about it is to get an opportunity to evaluate some guys that have done a really good job. We'll get a chance to see some other offensive linemen play that we're excited about. We'll get a chance to see those receivers do a good job. Jimmy, Blake Corum will be able to get a good workload. Looking forward to seeing Cody Schrader do some different things. And then defensively, we'll be able to get, a handful of guys some work. I don't want to get too specific on that, but because of the youth that we have on the defensive side of the ball, I think it's good to be able to keep some opportunities for guys to play, but maybe not the amount of workload that you're accustomed to with some of the main cast of characters. Jonah Jackson will. Joe Nopu. Yeah. I've been incredibly impressed with him. I mean, you talk about a man's man, Adam, and, really a lot of the situations, when I look at it, you feel really responsible for not helping put him in a better spot. You have some things about his center. All he was willing to do was whatever was asked of him. And then he's had some, freak accidents that didn't enable him to be able to practice in the offseason. Then he has the shoulder, has the setback against Arizona. But this guy's a mentally tough guy. He's physically tough. If you saw the way that he's worked, my respect level for how he's handled a unique situation that I really don't think is anybody, but, it's really my fault for not having him in a better spot to be able to contribute. But, I just couldn't be more impressed. I think you start to appreciate some of those things a little bit more as you reflect on different experiences. This guy's a really good football player. I'm looking forward to seeing him do an excellent job, and he'll start at right guard. Steve will start at left guard. There might be an opportunity to be able to get, Jonah some chances to play at the left guard position as well, depending upon kind of the flow of the game, things like that.
We talked about reflecting on your experiences. We talked a lot in
Yeah.
2022 about what that helped you learn. I'm curious, another pivotal time for this franchise when you guys traded for Matthew.
Yeah.
What did you learn about yourself as maybe a coach and a person?
Well, I mean, that's in regards to what? Just as far as just getting to work with Matthew?
No, and as an organization, making the decision to trade for Matthew.
Well, I think, all of the decisions that we make in the moment are, and what we think are the best interests of the football team, and getting a chance to pair up with what gives us a chance to try to be able to move forward. I think in regards to how you go about it, there's a lot of different things that you learn. I think the biggest thing I would say that I take away, and, you hopefully never lose this, and I'm going to be hopefully sitting here next year saying this is what I learned in this year, but not to take things for granted, to be grateful, to try to understand how to, you can make tough decisions while still being able to handle things in a way that's empathetic but firm, making sure that, you don't lose sight of, this is a people type of business. And I say this, sometimes in pursuit of different goals, you don't necessarily, you're not any less competitive, but you can lose perspective on the right way to do it as a leader that you want to influence and affect positive change with situations you're a part of and people you're around. Those are the things that I think about a little bit more, and you try to be authentic but also intentional about not being afraid to say, I do that differently. Would you make a different decision? No, but the etiquette and the way that it's handled, you would. And I do think, the different parts of where you're at in life, I often think back to, sometimes coaching can be like dog years. You're 30 years old when you get here, and you're just so excited. But man, it takes a toll on you if you don't understand how to balance it and lean on people and make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that influence you to want to be better for them. And then, you talk about what a blessing it's been, and having our little boy and my wife. So all those things weigh in to try to become, you're always continuously trying to become a better version of yourself within the framework of, what's necessary for that situation. And those are the things that I would think about. But I would say this, it's been really fun working with him. I mean, you talk about a guy that challenges you because of how smart he is, the consistency at which he's done it with. I think he's forced an accountability on my level because you want to make sure you have answers, because the way that he looks at it and how smart and cerebral he is, but how competitive he is. I think the coolest thing that you can say about Matthew is our guys always believe they have a chance because when he's at quarterback, and the authentic belief that he instills in people he's around, and that's the team as a whole.
Sean, is Kevin Dotson not playing? This will be the rare occasion for you guys this year that you're willingly pulling a lineman off the field.
Yeah.
Kevin specifically, what has his durability meant for you guys this year?
Yeah, and that really is a reason why you kind of go that direction. Alec's been working through some different things. Rob, because of the injury, and then because of the amount of work that Kevin's gotten, I think it'll serve him well. It's really been a tremendous credit to him, because we've had a lot of moving parts, as you sure know, on the offensive line, and I've been really proud of Kevin and his consistency. And he's having fun. He's at his best when he's out there enjoying it, shooting jump shots as celebrations and different things like that. But we expect him to use this week to be ready to go, support his teammates. And like I said, I think it does offer an opportunity to be able to evaluate some guys that I think are real players as well, that we're fortunate to have a little bit more depth at this point in the year with the offensive line to get some evaluations.
A couple more guys. Quentin Lake.
Yeah, he'll play. It'll be in a, not as many snaps as you're accustomed to. That was one of the things we pointed out in the team meeting, Gary. And for him, to stay healthy, to stay available is such a credit to his preparation, what he's put into this season, the impact, being voted a captain, but one of 4 players in this league that has had an opportunity. Look at Artis, he's pissed, man. One of 4 players in this league to play 100% of their defensive snaps. And I know that's something that he's proud of, as he should be. But I also think it provides an opportunity to, get him, play in some situational type of roles, and then be ready to roll for that playoff home opener.
Just real quick,
Go ahead.
do you have any discussion with guys like that, Tyron, Stafford, who's approaching Milestones, when you're making your decision?
Oh, always.
You
Absolutely.
let them know that
Yeah,
you're
you
fine?
talk through it, because you always want to, because look, sometimes, because fortunately we're a little bit healthier, you have a little bit more, flexibility in regards to how do you want to approach this. Last year we had some guys that were a little bit more veteran laden on the defensive side of the ball. That's why you go the route that you did with our offensive line. But absolutely, I think you want to be as collaborative as possible. Ultimately, you have to be able to make the decision, and the order of priorities, what's best for the team, and then what's best for the player. And if you can check both of those boxes, that's great. But I'd like to think that, the communication and their involvement and ownership is what creates the buy-in, so that you can at least give reasons and rationales, and then also try to listen to understand if maybe they feel differently. And so that's been something that you absolutely do.
Last one, guys.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about his work in the screen game specifically, and how he sets those layers, and how you sort of notice what he's been able to create almost sort of anticipating way?
I mean, shoot, he's been a guy that, I think the longer you do it, the consistency is the truest measurement of performance. And you look at what he's done, going back to, all the stuff in Philly, the amazing success they've had in Kansas City, but the screen game, getting a good feel. And, I think he's got a great feel for when to dial those up. And, he's always had those backs that have an excellent feel, going back to Westbrook, and there's a handful of guys, but, they do a great job in the tight end screen game, the perimeter screen game. And, I think there's a feel for how to sequence a game. I think there's an understanding of, all right, what am I anticipating, and being able to get it versus favorable types of looks. And then you can see the detail. We always talk about no screen is the same. Every screen has its own story. But for some reason, everywhere Andy Reid's been, that team has a good feel for it. And I've been a part of teams where we've had a good feel for the screen game and done a good job of creating clarity, and then other times where it hasn't been as good. But, Big Red is the man. He's got a great feel for, when to be able to get to those. And I think the detail at which they coach him and the timing at which he's getting to it, there's so many layers to it. But I've studied them. Every year that's one of the things that you're going to spend an off-season studying is, a lot of different things about Coach Reid, but definitely the screen game is one of them.
What does it take to be able to see how it's supposed to unfold with all the timing intricacies while you're in the design process?
I think it depends on which type of screen that you're talking about. Is it off your drop back? Is it off your play action? They've been successful with all of them, but it's understanding timing, landmarks, exit angles. How is the defense displaced in terms of who do you want to get out? What are the different things that you're looking for to create clarity for players to make quick decisions? But in all phases of the screen game, they've been excellent, and that's one of those deals that sometimes you're really rolling on them, and then other times. But Andy Reid's always rolling on them, and it's been a tremendous it's been a really successful thing that they've activated in addition to a lot of things with Coach Reid. You're welcome. All right, thanks guys.